I'd like to chat to you about the Great Resignation, and I'm going to put it to you that it's not necessarily what you think it is. So let's go back a step. What's the Great Resignation? Well, it's the term that's been used in business and HR circles to describe the fact that post-pandemic, people are more likely to leave their job on a voluntary basis, whether that be to retire, whether that be to change industry, or whether it's simply to look for another employer. And there is data to back up the fact that this has certainly been on the increase post-pandemic. But can I put this to you? Going back as far as 2009, voluntary resignation or voluntary turnover in all industries has been on the steady increase anyway, according to the Harvard Business Review. So it got me thinking about the interactions that I have when I deal with various businesses. And here's the thing. Yes, there are more options for people. People do consider their careers and their jobs maybe a little bit differently to when I joined the workforce 30 plus years ago. But there's more to it than that. For example, when you enter a business and you see there is no communication from senior leadership that makes sense at the front line, well, that's a demotivating factor. Pandemic or not, people are not going to want to stick around and give a lot of loyalty to that sort of organisation. When frontline managers don't regularly have one-on-one conversations and give quality feedback to their employees, again, why would I stay in a place like that? When we see that there is no training, no mentorship, no guidance for employees to want them to learn their jobs in more depth or in more breadth and stick around in an organisation, well, again, why would I stay there? I think we often make the mistake as employers or senior leaders of thinking that if we just set the KPIs, set the tasks, pay the people a fair wage, they'll just go off and do what they want to do. And I don't think that cuts it anymore. Again, pandemic or not, I think in the modern business world, the Great Resignation is much more about what's being delivered. What do I get from my organisation? How do I feel like I'm part of something bigger than what I am? For example, as an employee, when I see the company's strategy written out, maybe it's a vision statement, or maybe it's the 5 strategic priorities, maybe they're thrown on my lunchroom wall, or maybe they're at the bottom of someone's signature block who works in the HR department. What does that mean to me? Do I know what that means as far as what I'm expected to do every day? Do I understand how the tasks that are involved in my daily job play into that strategy? Am I part of something important, or am I just a number? The key to all this is communication, of course. It's in most large organisations and even many SMEs, this stuff is really well thought through by senior leadership, but it's not articulated. If it's not articulated and overtly called out to the employees, well, why would they feel part of something important? If they're not being trained, if they're not being mentored, if they're not being guided, if they don't understand what a career path looks like, if they don't understand why there's value in staying for 5+ years, 10+ years and beyond in an organisation, why would they stay? So the Great Resignation, yes, it's a thing, but I think it's very easy to blame it on changing attitudes after the pandemic, as opposed to thinking, well, what do I need to be doing in the future to ensure I'm creating a wonderful workplace for my employees and they actually want to stick around? Something to think about.